Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Drew Collins, and I'm the music director here. Today, I'm joined by the worship team of Linda Warren, Dan Carnes, and a special welcome to our guest worship leader, the Reverend Monica Kling-Garcia, who is Lead Staff Chaplain for Meriter Hospital. Welcome. The vision of FUS is growing souls, connecting with one another, and embodying our UU values in our lives, community, and world. If you're visiting us today, welcome. We're so glad you're here. If you would like more information about FUS, please stop by the welcome table located in the Commons, and we hope you'll be able to stay and join us for coffee immediately following the service. And to our worshipers joining us virtually, welcome to you as well. And now I invite all of us to join in a moment of silence, to center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community.
Our opening words today are by Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something I can do. And now I invite you to rise in all the ways that we do and join me in reading the words of our chalice lighting. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with the courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love. Love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames we rise. And now let us sing together hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love.
You can sing either version of the words you like. The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call. Good job. Please be seated. We invite anyone who would like to be closer for our story to come up and join us.
Awesome. Got a lot of enthusiastic listeners today. Oh, and some of you brought your own books. Very good. That's okay. It's okay that your notebook is lost. We've got books here today. Oh, you've got a different one. Wonderful. Awesome. Everyone brought their notebooks and is ready to learn today. Well, we're going to start today with a story that is called We Are Better Together. And it's by Bill McKibben, and it's illustrated by Stevie Lewis. The human game is a team sport. It took a band, a clan, a community to raise humans to adulthood. We hunted together in groups. With our complex language, we're able to keep track of one another. When we work together, we can do incredible things. We can harness the power of the sun. We can reforest the land. We can help lost sea turtles find their way to the ocean. We can explore the farthest reaches of space. And looking back, we can see how we are changing our planet. It is a beautiful, fragile place, worthy of our protection. We can accept with grace that each of us has a moment and a place, that our humanness is important. We have the tools to allow us to stand up to the powerful and the reckless. We know the value of love. It's love that works to feed the hungry. It's love that comes together in defense of sea turtles and sea ice and all else around us that is good. It's love that lets each of us see we're not the most important thing on earth and makes us okay with that. It's love that welcomes us imperfect into the world. We live on an unbearably beautiful planet. A planet that needs us humans to play together, to cooperate. We're capable of acting together to do remarkable things. So, we'd best get started soon. The end. So, today in the rest of the service, we're going to be talking about doing how each of us can do something big, but we can also do all of these little small things, little actions of love together to make a big difference in our world. And so in class today, but also in this week, I encourage you all to answer the call of love, as the song said, and to do little things wherever you can to make the world a better place. Thank you for being awesome listeners. You guys have a great class today.
We're going to sing you on your way, kids. Have a good class. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of And now we invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which sustains and strengthens our community here, and also our outreach offering recipient, who this week is the Mellowhood Foundation, which provides opportunities for families in Madison neighborhoods to engage in community activities that foster shared responsibility and self-determination for constructive change. There are multiple ways to share your gifts this morning. For cash or checks, you can put them in the baskets in the rear of the auditorium as you exit after the service. Or as you see on the screen, you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. And you will also see there our text to give information as well. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
In the northernmost part of India sits the island of Majuli, the world's largest river island. This island is home to 1,500 people and is one of the many areas of our planet affected by climate change. Since the early 1900s, monsoon erosion has left almost half of the island no longer inhabitable. Some experts warn that in 20 years, Majuli may no longer exist. And yet, on this island, there is a man doing all he can to stop that from happening. Jaduv Payang lives in Majuli with his family and has been planting at least one tree a day since he was 16 years old. Jadouv was concerned as a teenager in the 1970s when he noticed the displacement of the animals on Majuli with no place to go and the erosion of the land for his community to live on. For the past 40 years, he has been nurturing a rich forest, larger than Central Park, in the middle of barren land. At first, Jadouv was bringing in seeds from other places on the island, but now he is able to harvest and plant saplings from within the forest itself. Nowadays, he wakes up every morning as his family helps him prepare for his journey, and he spends the day in his forest, planting trees and protecting it from loggers and poachers. Elephants and tigers have returned to the land, and for the first time in 40 years, vultures have returned to Majuli. The Forest Man of India gained notoriety in 2007, and since then has won national and global conservation awards. However, Jadouv maintains that there are many in the world just like him. I just saw a need in my community, and I decided to do something about it. Like many others, I've been personally inspired by the story of the Forest Man of India. We have all experienced this shifting, harsh climate of our world, and we are not only faced with the reality of climate change, but also a harshness within our society. There seems to be hardly a day that goes by without a news headline about the disparities in our world, from anti-trans legislation to poverty, to racism, to violence in our schools. It can feel overwhelming, leaving us feeling flooded with both the deep desire to do something about this world and also simply not knowing where to start. But there is always a place to start, just like Jadouv started 40 years ago with his daily acts of resistance against the status quo. We have the power to make change through small actions, the little things that we can do to make a difference in our community. In fact, I am certain that each one of us here has planted some seed of action, of care, of resistance that has made a bigger impact than we realized. So today, I invite you to come with me as we explore stories of these different metaphorical seeds being planted by others, the small things that grew to make a big difference. It was a seemingly normal summer in Tennessee when a woman named Lynn experienced an unimaginable loss. Her husband of many years died unexpectedly, and this completely turned her world upside down. After the memorial service, weeks went by, and Lynn just couldn't feel normal again. The grief had made her feel isolated and alone. And without family close and really unsure of what even to ask for, Lynn just didn't know what to hold on to in this uncertain time. However, one morning, Lynn went to her mailbox and saw a handwritten card from her neighbor, Diane. It was a simple but beautiful card, and inside it just said, "Thinking of you." Diane had, unprompted, taken to writing cards for Lynn and dropped them off at her house for an entire year. They would just be simple messages like, "Just thinking of you," or "Hang in there," or "You've got this." But each of them was so meaningful. When recalling these gestures later online, Lynn wrote that Diane saved my life. Lynn's neighbor Diane made a huge impact through small gestures of kindness. It's likely that these gestures were more important to Lynn than Diane will ever know. And there have probably been times that each one of us has done something kind that we've since forgotten about, but that the other person remembers for the immense effect that it had on them. In the face of senseless tragedy, our small acts of kindness can take root and grow, providing shade and security for others. There are so many acts that we do for others that, can change the world around us. Sometimes we are just individually helping a friend, like bringing over dinner in a hard time or giving someone a gift because you saw something and thought of them. Other times we are helping people that we don't even know, such as helping a stranger carry their groceries, giving someone a compliment, or donating our time and treasure to those in our community who need it most. You see, there is power not only in our actions as individuals, but the small actions we take together towards a collective goal. Recently, there was actually a collective act of loving resistance here in Madison, Wisconsin, with the online TikTok creator Mercury Stardust, also known as the Trans Handy Ma'am. Mercury creates compassionate DIY videos that aim to empower the queer community and renters, and she often shares her experience as a trans woman with her viewers. March 31st was recently International Trans Day of Visibility, and in the midst of anti-trans legislation nationwide, she decided to do a 30-hour live stream with another content creator named Jory to raise money for the organization Point of Pride that provides free and discreet trans health care around the country. Now, Mercury's goal was ambitious, to raise $1 million for trans health care in just 30 hours. And she used her platform to encourage viewers to just engage in all the ways that they could online. Some donated as little as $1 to the cause. Others tagged celebrities to ferociously try to get their attention and donations. And others commented and shared the post to get it to just be more visible online. Every little thing counts, I heard Mercury say as I tuned into the live stream. And every person did do what small action they could to support this cause, to bring some trans joy into a time of trans oppression. After the 30-hour live stream finished, $2.3 million was raised for trans health care nationwide. They actually reached their goal of $1 million in the first 5 hours of the live stream. I share this story to share the power of action as a community. When we all do something small, it can have a huge impact. Not just the donations, but every comment, every like, every share of the stream that brought more donations. All of this is going to lead to thousands of trans people getting the health care that they need when and where they need it. In a time where access to trans health care is not a guarantee, this act of community care challenges those in power while supporting the community. As we hear these stories of actions of others, I invite us to take a moment to reflect on these kinds of stories in our own life. When someone has made when has someone made a difference in your life by doing something small? And after you reflect on that moment, I just ask, what did that small action mean to you? Some of us may be thinking of times where a friend or neighbor maybe did something small and kind to help us. Some of us may be thinking of the times we benefited from the collective action of a community or a charity when we really needed it. Whatever it is that is rising to your mind during this time, I invite you to hold on to that warm feeling and just remember that, we have the power every day to pass that along to someone else. Just as the story said earlier in the service, we are a human community and we are better together. Supporting each other is the best resistance we have to push back against corruption. In the face of cruelty and injustice, even in the worst cases imaginable, there are always seeds that can be planted for a better world. Recently, 91-year-old Edith Rubin shared her stories as a Holocaust survivor with the podcast Kind World. Now, while she doesn't like to talk about her experiences often, she was compelled to share her stories online to focus on the acts of kindness that helped her survive. Edith was a teenager when she was sent to Auschwitz, separated from her family to do manual labor. She would often be forced to shovel snow barefoot as one of her tasks. Most of the work was intended to be demoralizing. One day, she had a wound on her leg and was really struggling to walk. So one of the other women took Edith's shovel for her. I don't even remember her name, but maybe she felt sorry for me because she could see it was hard for me to walk, recalled Edith. She took from me the shovel and she said, "I want to do it." And when I saw this kindness, then I imagined I had some hope. Looking back, she said that woman likely saved her life, as collapsing from her injury would have gotten her killed. When Edith was eventually released as a refugee, she shared the impact the kindness and love of complete strangers had for her. She shared how it was even difficult to imagine what compassion was after spending so many weeks and months in such incredible suffering. However, as soon as she got off the train, she was met with so many volunteers who showed her kindness, caring for her wounds, cleaning her, giving her food. "I just could not believe it was possible," Edith said. "My heart was full of love. They gave us everything. They were so good to us. They washed, they scrubbed us, really, because we were so dirty. But it was so beautiful, and it was so kind." When the world is bleak and hard, there is always something we can do to put kindness into this world as an individual or as a group. When our community is experiencing an erosion of compassion and care, planting those small actions of care and love for others is crucial. It is an act of resistance. Love is an act of resistance in trying times. Whether we are doing something as an individual to make an impact, doing something as a collective, or nurturing compassionate communities, there is always a way that each and every one of us is making the world a better place. In those moments when we are paralyzed with fear or indecision, let's think to ourselves, what small act of love can I do today? And whatever it is that just came into your mind, I promise it is not too small. Taking the time to make a compassionate world, one small action at a time, radiates outward, further than we could possibly know. In Unitarian Universalism, love is at the center of our communities. Many of us say that love is the spirit of our church. Love is a powerful act of resistance. When we do our actions rooted in love for ourselves, for our community, for those we don't know, for the planet, no something is too small to make a difference. When NPR interviewed the forest man of India, he shared that he did not think that he had done all of that by himself. It's not as if I did it alone, he said. You plant 1 or 2 trees, and then they have to seed. And once they seed, the wind knows how to plant them. The birds here know how to sow them. The cows know. The elephants know. Even the river knows. The ecosystem knows. Much like seeds regrowing in an ecosystem, so do acts of love change our world. Each time we choose an act of love in this world, it carries through in more ways than we could possibly know. Diane's cards brought kindness to Lynn, which she could then share with others. Mercury's fundraiser will change the lives of thousands of trans people who will each go on to make their own mark in the world. Edith moved to America and started a family, encouraging kindness and compassion in the next generations. Each small action, every seed of love planted, grows and adds to our forest of humanity. When we resist hate and choose love, one day at a time, no matter how small, it is always worth it. Please join me now in reflection as we share these words from Tamara Bach. Holy One, who has given us the breath of life, today we remember to breathe deeply, to rest, to take in, to pause before we act. And then to take in another deep breath, poised on the edge, and risk jumping in, risk taking action, risk speaking up, risk using the gifts we have been given so that at the end of our life, we can say with absolute clarity that no part of our existence was wasted in fear of failure or fear of success. Hold us, prepare us the way to begin to offer the gift of our awakened presence, full of love and light today. These and the prayers of our hearts we lift now in the silence. Amen.
And now let's rise in body and/or in spirit to sing together our closing hymn, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Sets our mind and
We extinguish our chalice today with these words from Leo Buscaglia. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for our postlude.